Welcome back to the Brothers Grimdark, everybody. My name's Lyndon, and today we're going to be going through the rosters for the Dark League in this year's Blood Bowl Championship. So if you watched our previous video for the Grim Division, I basically went through the same order that I drew them in the pool, starting with the sort of all-round team, the human team. So I'm going to be doing the same for today. Going to be going through the human roster rather than the Bretonians this time, and just running through what Connor has brought. So this is Connor's third year in the championship, also his third year running humans. This is, I think, second last returning team that's been in all three championships so far. So Connor's got a pretty good understanding of how the humans work so far, and he's had medium success with them so far. So in the first year, he put out Rowan in the first round, then faced my Blackworks in the second round and unfortunately went out in that one. And then last year we had a group stage followed by semi-finals, and Connor just missed out on reaching it through to the semi-finals last year, so he was about mid-table. So he's done pretty well so far, but he'll be looking through to break through a little bit and get into those semi-finals and maybe even finals games. He likes a passing game, so he's a little bit sad about what's happened to the thrower this edition, but I've been trying to console him by saying that what's happened to his catchers is really gonna help out the team. So let's just dive into what Connor's brought with him for this edition. So the human team, they have pretty bog standard linemen, but exactly what you'd want from a lineman. They're cheap and they're armor 9 and they've got agility 3+. Means they can do some stuff, they can pick up the ball and they can dodge away, just not that reliably, but not terribly. Armor 9 means that they're going to stick in the fight for the most part, and being cheap means it just opens up other options for your other positionals and rerolls. So Connor's managed to get 3 rerolls in this human team, which is exactly where you want to be. Very reliable, a nice start there. And then he's brought 5 linemen with him. So as I say, no skills on the linemen. They are movement 6, they're strength 3, they're agility 3+, they've got 4+ passing, doesn't really matter too much, and they're armor 9, and they've got general skills on the primary. So good all-round player there for 50k. Very well priced. And we've got number 3, Big Bad Barry. Number 29, Average Adequate Andy. Number 33, Extreme Eager Edmund. Number 42, Flashy Ferocious Freddy. And number 68, Gorgeous Gregarious Gary. So those are Connor's 5 linemen in his starting roster. Very good starting point there. He's also got a new addition this year, so I pitted up Connor's team for him, and in previous years I hadn't pitted up any halflings for him. This year I have. So although his throwing game might have changed a little bit, he now has a new angle both on defense and offense by having a couple of halflings with him. So we've got Bill and Ben, the halfling Blood Bowl player men. So we've got 2 of them. They are 30k, so very cheap. Movement 5, strength 2, it's a halfling, what you expect. Agility 3+, which is nice. Passing 4+, armor value 7, so very fragile, but they've got dodge and stunty, and importantly, they've got right stuff. So as we'll see in a minute, Connor has somebody who can throw players that have right stuff. So it gives them another angle, both for scoring and for lobbing them at his opponent's ball carrier, try and knock them down or break a corner of a cage so those blitzers can get in and cause a turnover. So yeah, halflings, pretty good, nice and cheap. Just gives you another little angle. Connor has enough players to have a full 11 players on the pitch without using any halflings, so it's not really gonna make him weaker. He can just bring them on when he needs them, when he wants to do that little tricksy play, or he does just have that little bit of a security bench, albeit they are stunties, but in case a player does go down in the game, he's got them on the bench to bring on and assist his main roster. Then we go to the, we won't go to the throw yet, we'll go to the ogre. So Connor's maybe favourite player, or they've definitely got a little bit of a love-hate relationship. So Connor, number 99, has named his ogre Bloody Stupid Johnson, because he can be stupid sometimes, but sometimes he comes up with big plays as well. So ogre is a great player, by far the most expensive player on this team, coming in at 140k. Their movement 5, which is pretty good for a big guy. Strength 5 is great. agility 4+, passing 5+, so not the best at being accurate with those halflings when they're lobbing them, but again, it's just an extra little string in Connor's bow. Armor value 10+, they've got Bonehead, that's what we're talking about, that can hurt you and they can just not do what you really need them to do when you've declared that big guy blitz and they just Bonehead and stand there and do nothing and you've wasted your blitz for that turn. Loner 3+, which is not the end of the world, but it means if you do need to use a reroll on them, i.e. reroll that Bonehead, you need to roll a 3+ first to even be able to use the reroll, and if you roll a 1 or a 2, that reroll gets spent regardless, so a little bit risky using that reroll on your ogres. They've got Mighty Blow, which just helps them pound and dish out a lot of damage. When they do activate, they've got Thick Skull to make them even more hard to put down, so being strength 5, hammered armor 10 and Thick Skull makes them hard players to remove. And yeah, of course, they've got throw teammates, so they can throw those halflings around the pitch if they want to. That's Bloody Stupid Johnson. Hope to see big things from him this year. He's always fun to see on the Blood Bowl pitch. We love an ogre. Then we'll go to Connor's thrower. So we've got number 7, Flingy McChuckerson. And the thrower got a little bit of a downgrade this season. This edition is hard, you just can't beat around it. They used to be passing 2+, now they're passing 3+, so quite a bit less reliable there. They've still got sure hands, so they're pretty good at picking up the ball. They've got armor value 9, which is quite nice on a thrower, means they're hard to target and just remove from the game, so quite nice there. Yeah, passing 3+, agility 3+, movement 6, strength 3. You know the deal. They're an okay passer, not a great passer. They used to be a great passer, but yeah. Now though, your catchers in the human team have gone from being a good scoring threat to just a good all-round player with a platform to turn them into an amazing player. So they used to be strength 2 and movement 8. Now they've gone to strength 3 and movement 8. So still retaining that movement 8, but being strength 3 just means they're much harder to remove and take away that threat. And it also means they can provide a little bit of an offensive game because they're strength movement 8. They can get to your opponent's ball carrier and harass them and maybe even put them down with a favorable dice roll. So yeah, coming in at 75k, movement 8, strength 3, agility 3+, passing 4+, armor 8. So outside the halflings, they are still the weakest player on this team, the easiest to remove. But they've got catch, which you bet you re-roll that pass when the catching roll from the pass when it comes to them. So still a good receiver. And they've got dodge, which means they can dodge away from opponents, get themselves free and ready to receive that pass. But it also is a great skill for offensive, so they can dodge away from the line of scrimmage and go chasing after that ball carrier. With their movement 8, they're likely to catch him. This player is just one skill away from being a blodge player as well, so you get block on them, and then they are fantastic at taking down that opponent's ball carrier. So really, really good player. Well, good player to begin with, and the potential to become a real superstar on the pitch, and Connor has 2 of them. One of them, as you'll see in a minute, I'm really rooting for to be killed early in the league because Connor has named him ridiculously. So we've got number 10, Gerino de la Fuente. That's not the difficult one. And then we have number 12, Juan Pablo Fernandez de Calderon Garcia Iglesias. Thank you very much, Connor. So because he's a wide receiver as well, because he's a catcher, he's likely to score touchdowns. And as I say, if he gets blocked, he's likely to cause some casualties as well. So I'm going to have to be saying that name all the time as the announcer during the league. So yeah, extra points for whoever can remove that player from the league as early as possible. Then we've got the blitzers in this team. Last players rounding out Connor's roster. So you get a lot in the human team. It's a cheap team, but it's good, solid. It's not got no massive superstars, but you get everything that you want right from the get-go. And they're quite resilient as well. So it just means you can save up that money for star players, inducements, blah, 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 replacing occasionally when you do lose a player. So Connor's 2 blitzers. We have number 51, John the Hitman Rowdy, and number 55, Desmond the Demolisher. So blitzers have also had a little bit of a boost this edition, as well as the catchers. They're coming at 85k. The movement 7, which is nice for a blitzer, it's exactly where you want to be. Strength 3, agility 3+, passing 4+ again. Armor value 9+ again. They come with that all-important block skill to begin with. but they've also got tackle now too. So that basically turns off dodge both on block dice, and when your opponent's trying to dodge away from you, they can't use that skill. So it's really good for taking out your opponent's wide receivers, your opponent's catchers, or your opponent's threats to score and touchdowns. You can just stick on them and make that dodge roll a little harder to pull off. And then if they decide they don't want to roll it at all, your blitzer is right next to them to just smack them with that tasty block skill and maybe get an injury as well. Now there's also a new skill or new rule for the humans in this edition. They get the captain rule. So basically Connor gets to pick one player from his roster and they get the pro skill. So pro, basically anytime you roll dice on a 3+, you can re-roll one of those dice. So it's great for farming for POWs. So if Connor, say he gets a 2 dice block and he rolls a push and a skull, he could re-roll that skull, keep the push, so there's no risk of him causing a turnover, keep the push, re-roll the skull and fish for a POW. So Connor stuck that on his blitzer, John the Hitman Rowdy. So he is Connor's captain. So he's coming straight into the league with the pro skill, really nice. And in addition to that, whenever that player is on the pitch and Connor uses a team re-roll, gets to roll a dice, and on a 6+, he gets to keep that re-roll. So it makes the team just a big boost, really. You know, if Connor's got 3 re-rolls, that's 6 in total for the 2 halves. Chances are once per game, he's got to have an extra reroll. So kind of going into every game, 7 rerolls in total, which is nice. Plus the pro skill on that guy as well. So that's the human team. Really nicely rounded team. They've got everything they want right off the bat. They've got a bit of muscle in the ogre. They've got some throw teammate shenanigans with the 2 halflings. They've got a thrower. They've got 2 catchers for their scoring potential, and they've got a blitzer as well as the 2 catchers for hunting down the opponent's players. So really nice all-round roster there. All right, and next up we have Marisha with her Dark Elves, the Mount Manganui Vixens. This is the last team that we've got that's been in all 3 seasons so far. So Meesh has done pretty well with this team. Dark Elves, strong team, and Meesh has been piloting them very well. So season 1, she took them all the way to the final, unfortunately losing to me in the final with my Black Orcs. And in season 2, she took them to the semi-finals where we had a face-off between the 2 elf teams, the Dark Elves versus the Wood Elves, and Rowan was just able to pip them in that match. He just got his Tree Man before that match, and he had an unbelievable game. He didn't take root once, and I think he took out like 3 players in his opening 4 turns or something. Like, it was mad. It was just a bloodbath, and Rowan was able to really control the game from that point. So the Tree Man really was the MVP there, and because he powered up so much, just made it very difficult for Meesh. But if that hadn't happened, she probably had a fair chance of making it to the final and maybe even winning it that time round. But the Tree Man stood in her way. This year, though, she has gone for slightly different, so she's mixed up the roster a little bit. Before, she took 2 blitzers, she took 2 assassins, and she took 1 witch elf. This time round, she's sticking with the 1 in witch elf. She's dropped an assassin for a runner, and she's still got 2 blitzers. So she's mixed things up a little bit there. But let's start with the most underrated. Well, they're not underrated, but they're maybe the most overshadowed player in this team, and that is just the standard linemen. Now, these guys are superb linemen. They're basically the human linemen that we just talked about, but with agility 2+, and you pay 15k for that, 15,000 for that, which is well worth it. You get movement 6 still, strength 3 still, you get agility 2+, passing, oh no, I tell a lie, they're passing 3+, so they're a little bit better on that as well. They get armor value 9+, and on their primary skills, they get access to agility skills as well as general. So they are just a great player to have as a backup for anything. You know, you can brew these guys up to fill any role that you need to in your team. You can give them block, and you've got an extra little blitzer. You can give them dodge. You've got an extra goal scoring threat. You know, you can give them, you know, anything, and they're just going to boost up. You can give them kick, and that can really help you manipulate the game for your other players. They're just a brilliant player to have on your team. Any team would pay 65k to have this player in their roster, and from a lot of teams, they would be the star player of that roster. But because this is elves, they're just the linemen. But having that armor 9 makes them pretty resilient and still a great player. So Meesh has got number three, Theon Fight Me, number 7, Ophelia Awful, number 12, Maggie Mayhem, number 27, Lucifer Lineman, number 28, Mojo Sharppaws, and number 36, Rod Rager. So great start there for the Dark Elves. 6 linemen, they are beasts, great players. And also Meesh has 2 rerolls in this roster. Being Elves, more on the expensive side, but this is one of the Elf teams that you still get 2 rerolls in that starting roster, which is really, really helpful. Then we go on to our new player, the Runner. So Meesh hasn't run this player before. She's used him in a couple practice games and has liked the look of him. So she's brought him in exchange for one of her assassins, which I think is a good switch. Although the assassins are really good this game, just gives you an extra ball carrier on the pitch, which is really, really nice. So Dark Elf Runner, movement 7, great. Strength 3, solid. Agility 2+, fantastic. Passing 3+, yeah, pretty good. Armor value 8, so a little bit more fragile. And they've got Dump Off, which is a skill they've always had. And they've also got Punt, which is the new skill for this edition. So Dump Off, what that means is just before you're about to get hit by a block dice, you can say you want to dump the ball off to a player nearby. So you throw the ball, it's just a regular passing throw, so you will suffer the -1 for the player that's about to hit you, being in your tackle zone. But if you think you're going to go down because of that hit, or you just want to get the ball to a different position, you can try throw it to a nearby Dark Elf. Whether they catch it or not matters a little bit, but not too much. It's not going to cause a turnover because it's in your opponent's turn, and then you will receive that hit from the block dice coming in. So it's a handy little skill there just to reposition the ball, makes Dark Elves a little bit tricksy, which is nice. And then they've also got the Punt skill. So this kind of operates, you use it for the same reason, but in your own turn. So say you've just been boxed in with your ball carrier, with that runner, you got 3 linemen in front of you, or 3 whatever, right in front of you, can't get past them, you're blocked in, don't want to take the risky dodge away, you can just kick the ball through the lines. So it's a D6 in a random of three directions in front of you, or to the side, you just kick it that way. And then it doesn't cause a turnover. So it's slightly random, but if you can get it past those 3 players, or whatever players are in front of you, one of your other players can swoop in, pick that ball up on a 2+ for the most part, because you're elves, and then run it through beyond the line. So it's a great little skill to have. Takes a little bit of nuance and feel to know when exactly to use it, but it's a very handy tool to have in the Dark Elves roster. So really like the Dark Elf Runner for 80k. I think he's a bit of a steal. And that is number 95, Salty Spock. Then we go on to the Lone Witch Elf. So Meesh has always enjoyed using the Witch Elves. They're a favourite player on the pitch. In the last edition, she was using them a little bit as a ball carrier. Now that she's got that runner, it frees up her Witch Elf to really, really perform, getting those block dice in, that frenzy into exactly where it's needed, and providing some dodges to really go after the opponent's ball carrier as well. So they're a really nice player. The fact that they've got dodge, frenzy and jump up keeps them active, they're really, really mobile, even though they're, I say only movement 7, but movement 7, the fact that they've got jump up and frenzy and dodge actually makes them really, really nimble. They can get to a lot of places around the pitch, and they can use that frenzy for kind of extra movement as well. So really, really good player. Coming in at 110k, by far the most expensive player on this team. I think they were 115 in the last edition, so they've gone down a little bit. Their strength 3, agility 2+, passing 4+, armor value 8. So again, a little bit fragile. They've got that dodge to help protect them a little bit, but it's definitely a little bit on the fragile side, but a great player. A little bit unhinged. They will burn you sometimes with that frenzy. They'll get themselves into trouble, and with that armor 8, they might get removed some games, but when they power up, they can be the star of a game. Really, really good players. And that is number 4, Zelda Zip. Then we go to the Lone Assassin that Meesh has in our roster. Number 11, Trish Tricks. So Assassins got a great glow up in this edition. So they used to be good, but they could suffer getting removed and targeted quite easily. This edition, they've gained a new skill which really boosts them a lot. So they're 90k, so they've also gone up 5k this edition, but that is well worth it for what you get. Movement 7, nice and quick again. Strength 3, agility 2+, passing 4+, they're not there to pass. Armor value 8, so again a little bit fragile, but we'll see they've got something to help compensate them from before that in this edition. They've got shadowing, which basically means if a player tries to move away from them, on a 4+, they can follow them and keep chasing after them. Useful against stunty players or other players that might be weaker than them, like guard runners, things like that. But generally, if a player's next to assassin, it's probably going to want to take a hit on them because they don't have any defensive skills and they're only armor 8. So it's a skill that will come up some games, and other games it won't get used at all. Stab is going to come up every game. It's fantastic. Basically, instead of rolling a block dice, you can try stab your opponent. So you go straight to armor. So it's great against low armored opponents, and you can try and spike it against other things as well. In season 1, Meesh actually took out one of Simon's tree men with the stab, which was just mental. She rolled I think a double 6 to get through the armor, and then she rolled something else crazy like a 10 to remove it from the game. So I don't endorse that tactic with your stab assassins, your fragile assassins, sticking them next to a tree. But as Meesh proved, it can be done, and it was an awesome, awesome play when she pulled it off. Now their new skill they've got in this game takes them from being good to great, in my opinion. They have hit and run. So basically what that means is after they perform that stab action, they can dodge away for free. They basically just get to move away to another square. It has to be an open square. It can't be a square that's in a tackle zone, but it means they can stab something. If it doesn't work, they can just jump back and they're free. So it used to be that you kind of had to use your blitz on your assassin to hit and then jump away to keep them out of danger. Now you don't. It can just, if you start your turn in engagement with range with an opponent, you just stab them and then jump right back. It's a really, really nice skill, and it takes assassins from being a good player to, I think, a great player. But lastly, they're not as good as this player. The real stars of the Dark Elf team are their blitzers. These are some of the best blitzers in the game, coming in at 105k. Not the cheapest player, but for what you get, it's amazing. So they're movement 7, strength 3, agility 2+, passing 3+, which is pretty good for a blitzer actually. Armor value 9, and they've got block. So block is the best skill in the game, and having that on a piece that's movement 7, armor 9 and agility 2+ just means they're going to stay in the game with that armor 9. They can get to where they need to be with that agility 2+ and movement 7, and they're just a solid player. So they're the real stars of the team. Dark Elves got maybe a little bit of a downgrade in this edition because they used to be able to take 4 of these players. Meesh was never doing that, so it doesn't really make a difference for our league, but they used to be able to take 4 of them, and most players were doing that. But for Meesh, doesn't make a difference. She's still got her 2, and she's still got that nice 3 other positional complement. She's just mixed up a little bit to go along with those 2 blitzers. So expect to see great things from them this league, as well as Meesh and her Dark Elf. She's hoping for that title challenge. She's been close twice. Is this the year she can do it? We'll just have to wait and see. All right, so then we get to a brand new team and a brand new player. So this is someone who's not taken part in any of the leagues before, and that is Greg, and he's bringing with him vampires, the Thirst and Downers. So we'll get into the vampire roster in a minute. Let's just talk about Greg for a second. So as I said, never played against Greg in Blood Bowl, but I have played against him in other board games, and he is always incredibly on it. He's very acute with his understanding of the games and how things work. Used to play games with him, and I'd sort of ask, oh, who's winning? And he was like, well, Adam's winning at the moment, and you're going to go out this turn, so that's going to end the game. And I'd be like, sorry, what? So he's very, very good at understanding the rules in the game, and the fact that he chose vampires tracks for Greg. So a team that's got a very high upside if you can manage it, but a very severe drop-off if you can't. High risk, high reward. I think Greg's going to be able to do very well with this team. So he's my pick. He's my dark horse for this league. Not seen him play Blood Bowl before, but I'm expecting him to have a good season. So let's go into vampires and the roster that Greg has picked. So as I alluded to, vampires have a very big upside in their vampires. So they are basically like elves that are strength 4. And they come with an extra skill, hypnotic gaze. So they're very, very good players. But let's start with the weak side of the team, but also an incredibly important side of the team. And that's the linemen, the thralls. So these guys are exact same as human linemen, but without the armor 9. They're only armor 8. So they're very fragile, and you've kind of got to stick them on the line. So your opponent is going to have a very fun time beating up your linemen if you're a vampire player. So they come in at 40k, so they're nice and cheap. They're movement 6, strength 3, agility 3+, passing 4+, armor 8, and 0 skills. So these guys are just there to be cheap and allow you to be able to afford your vampires, who are the real stars of this team, but they're also the food for your vampires. So your opponent's going to be hurting them, and you're probably going to be hurting them as well as a vampire player. So we'll get into that as we study the vampires. But the linemen first. So we've got number 6, Trevor C., number 7, Simon, number 8, Just, number 9, Richter, number 10, Julius, number 11, Leon, and number 12, Christopher. Forgot to mention as well, Greg has also afforded 3 rerolls for the vampires, which you really need. They are a hungry reroll team, and we'll get into just why as we study the throwers. So the throwers are arguably the best throwers in the game. So they're right up there with the Skaven thrower as one of the best throwers in the game. Why? Well, they're throwing 2+, which is great. They're armor 9, so they're hard to put down. They're movement 6, which is fine. You maybe love them to be movement 7, but they're already 110k, so to take them to movement 7, make them even more expensive. They're strength 4, which is huge. Very difficult to put them down when they've got the ball. And they are agility 2+ as well. Then their skills. So they've got bloodlust 2+. That's the skill we were alluding to earlier. So every time Greg activates a vampire, he has to roll a dice. And depending on the different positional for vampire throwers, it's a 2+. So on a 2+, it's fine. He gets to activate them as he wishes. On a roll of a 1, at the end of his activation, that player has to bite a thrall. So he still gets to do what he wants, whether it's go pick up the ball or go throw the ball. But after he's done that, he has to make sure he ends his move next to a thrall and bites them. So it's just straight to an armor roll, which is only 8+, as I said, on the thralls. So if he rolls those 1s, vampires are likely to do a bit of damage to themselves. The other thing he can do is he can not end his move next to a thrall, not bite them, but that causes a turnover immediately. So it might not be so bad if you've moved most of your team or all of your team and you go, oh, I've rolled that 1, fine, I'll do what I want to do with this player, and then my turn ends. So it can be okay when it happens in that order, but a lot of time it's going to happen with the first vampire you activate. You're going to roll that 1, and then you've got to decide, do I want to spend a reroll on that? Or am I happy for this player to do what they want and then bite the thrall that's next to them? These are the things Greg's going to have to weigh up as he goes. But the vampire thrower is a superstar. Like, there's no getting around it. It's being agility 2+ and strength 4 is an insane combination. So he's got 2 of those. Number 1, he's got Lewis, and number 2, he's got Armand. Then we go to the runners. So Greg's also managed to squeeze in 2 runners. Number 3, Santiago, and number 4, Marius. So the runners are maybe the most distinct of the 3 different types of vampires that you get. So they're the only one that isn't strength 4. They go down to strength 3, but they go up to movement 8. So they're also a little bit cheaper. They're 100k, still agility 2+, passing 3+, which is still pretty good. And their armor value 8+, so a little bit more fragile as well. They've also got bloodlust on a 2+, so pretty reliable. Oh, I forgot to mention, all the 3 vampires also have regeneration, and they've got a skill called Hypnogaze. Now, I'll be honest, I've not dived too much into how Hypnogaze works. I know it always works on a 3+, and I think it basically turns off your opponent's tackle zones, so you can move right past them. But I haven't actually studied exactly how that works. I will need to before Greg's first game, so I know what's going on. But it's very good for just nipping past the lines with your vampires. You just look at somebody, roll dice on a 3+, you can skirt right past them like they're not there. So really useful skill there. So Greg's got, as I say, he's got 2 of those. And then his last vampire, he's the most unhinged of the regular vampires. If you're not taking the Vargeist, which is the big, crazy, bat, big guy, you've got a Blitzer. So he's number 5, and that is Lestrat. And let's look at the Blitzer. So 110k, his movement 6 like the thrower, he's strength 4 like the thrower, he's agility 2+ like the thrower, he's only passing 4+, which is fine, that's not his job. He's armor value 9, he's got regeneration like the other 2, he's got hypno gaze like the other 2. His bloodlust is 3+, so as I say, he's a little bit more unhinged than the other 2, so on a 2 he will also bite a thrall. And then he's got Juggernaut, so doesn't have block, which is a little bit of a shame, but strength 4 is more than compensation for that. And basically, if he does roll that both down as part of your blitz, it just counts as a push. So he's pretty reliable as he goes darting around the pitch, and is probably the player who's going to be doing most of your blitzes anyway. So that is the Thirst and Downers. What do you think of this team? Sometimes people go for 4 vampires just to make it a little bit more reliable, but Greg's pushing for that upside with the 5 vampires. He's only got the 1 blitzer, which is nice. It's only the 1 that's on that 3+. What do you think? Would you go for more thralls and or more rerolls and only 4 vampires, or do you think this is a perfect sweet spot that Greg's picked? And then we've got Dean. So Dean's taken part in all 3 seasons so far. In the first 2 seasons, he ran his halflings to much acclaim. Dean loves a big play, and he pulled it off several times with his halflings. He was the king of the one-turn touchdown in our first 2 leagues. But with running halflings, wasn't able to get too far with them. So the first season, I played him first round with my Black Orcs, and it was a very close game. Just managed to pip him 2-1. In the second season, it was between me and Dean who was going to make that final playoff spot. I was sitting in it. He needed a win, and unfortunately for him, that game ended in a 2-2 draw. It was loads of fun. It was an absolute bloodbath of my goblins going up against his halflings. It was just carnage everywhere. His trees were smacking down my trolls, and my secret weapons were just removing halflings across the pitch. It was very, very fun. Big bloodbath. This year, Dean has decided to give himself a little bit more of a fighting chance, and he has moved to the Norse team. So Norse, sort of a human adjacent team, slightly chaotic, but very big upsides, a little bit less of a passing game, a little bit slower, but they hit like a train. So let us jump into that Norse team. So Dean has got 4 linemen in this team. So he's got Larg the Lugless, he's got Swen Seatson, he's got Sigurd Stiffcalf, and he's got Dagmar the Drunk. So let's have a look at the Norse team, the Norse linemen, and see what makes them special. So Norse Raider costs 50k, so same as a human lineman. Their movement 6, same as a human lineman. Their strength 3, same as a human lineman. Agility 3+, same as a human lineman. Passing 4+, same as a human lineman. Armor value 8+, less than a human value, same as a thrall. So at the moment they're the exact same as a thrall, but for 10k more. So let's have a look at their skills. So they come with block, which is massive. Best skill in the game on your lineman is huge. So great start there. They've got Drunkard, which basically means whenever they go for it, so whenever they try and move beyond their movement, you can do that twice with a player. Normally it's a 2+. With Drunkard, it turns that into a 3+. So pretty thematic for your Norse linemen, your Vikings, to be a little bit drunk on the pitch. Really like that. And they've got Thick Skull as well. So although they're only armor 8, when they do go down and that armor gets broken, that Thick Skull is just going to make it a little bit harder to cause a KO on this player. And lastly, they've got Unsteady, and that is you can't use the new skill, the new action, Secure the Ball, and that's fine because they're not your ball carriers. So let's have a look at that. You've got 2 good skills there in Block and Thick Skull, and you've got 2 bad skills in Drunkard and Unsteady that aren't really going to come up that often. They are going to come up in the course of a league, but they're not necessarily going to come up every game. But Block and Thick Skull probably are, so that's a big upside that they're getting. Only being armor 8 balances them nicely, I think, for 50k. Great player to have on the line, and Dean's got 4 of them in this team. Then we go on to the cheap seats, the players that are going to fill out the roster nicely. Dean has got 2 beer boars. So these are a fun little player that the Norse team have access to. They're essentially useless themselves, but in terms of playing the game, but they do have a couple little niche things that they can do. So you get them for 20k, so nice and cheap. They're movement 5, they're strength 1, so they're the weakest player in the league. They're agility 3+, they cannot pass the ball. Their armor value 6, so they're incredibly fragile. They've got dodge, so that's great. They've got no ball though, so they can never pick up the ball, so forget them being a little bit like a fox on the gnome team. They're not going to be picking up the ball, so they're not going to be scoring. They've got stunty, so they can keep dodging. They've got titchy, so they dodge on a 2+, but opponents don't treat their tackle zones as negatives for dodging into either. Now the skill that really makes this player though is the pick-me-up skill. So if I'm playing against Dean, at the end of my turn, Dean can roll a dice for every player that's within 3 of a beer boar, and on a 4+, that player just gets to stand up before Dean's turn. So they can then just activate as normal in Dean's turn. So it's a really great player to have just sitting behind your line of scrimmage. And if I smack down some of Dean's players, on a 4+ at the end of my turn, he can just pick them up as this beer boar runs around stocking their tankards up with beer. Very thematic, very fun. And Dean has enough players in his roster, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, he has to start one of them. So Dean's got a bench of 1, including 2 beer boars. So one of them will have to start the game on the pitch. But it's a great little upside to have. You know, they really can swing a game if they're able to get some players up on their feet at crucial moments. So a great little player. And the other little thing that they can do is, because they're only 20k, when your lineman or whoever knock down a team, knock down a player, as they say, this is a very smashy team, so it's gonna happen. They can run in and commit that foul action, and if they get sent off, it's just a 20k player that's only strength 1. They're not really a big anchor in your team, so you can sort of ride that out and accept that if they get sent off. It doesn't make you feel terrible when that happens. Then we go on to the blitzers in this team, the Norse berserkers. So Dean's got 2 of the, oh sorry, I forgot to tell you the name of Dean's beer boars. So we've got Golden Bristles, great name, and we've got Pig the Grave, 2 great names there. Then we go on to his blitzers, so we've got Skull the Ancient and Vigo Swen Vigo. So what's special about the Norse berserkers? So they're 90k. Their movement 6, which is a little slower than you'd want to be for your blitzers. Their strength 3, their agility 3+, their passing 5+, so they really don't want to pass the ball. They're still only armor 8, so a little fragile, but they've got block, frenzy, and jump up. So that jump up's going to help them feel a little faster. When they go down, they don't suffer negatives to their movement when they stand back up, so that's nice. Block is great, and that being paired with frenzy is fantastic. Very reliable at knocking your opponents down, even with only 1 dice. You just got to avoid that skull, and then you'll get 2 cracks at it to take an opponent down. So they're a bit of a missile that you can just send in. If you can give them support, all the better, then they're even better, but they can operate on their own, pretty reliable. You've just got to be wary of those frenzy traps that's going to turn your 1 die block on the first one, if you don't put them down, into a 2 die block with your opponent choosing on the second dice. So great player, a little bit vulnerable, but very unhinged and very fun. On the unhinged and fun note, we go to the superstars of the team, the Ulfverner. So we've got Olaf Bloodclaw and Bjorn Fearbeard. So what makes them fantastic? Well, they're 105k, so you already know this is going to be a bit of a player because they're not cheap. They're movement 6 and strength 4, which is fantastic. Anytime you see that strength 6 on a strength, that movement 6 on a strength 4 player, it's great because they've got mobility to get where they need to bring that strength 4 to bear. It's fantastic. Their agility 4+, their passing 6+, their armor value 9, which is nice but also confusing because they're only really in very little tight shorts. I don't know where they're getting that armor 9 from, but it's great. And they've got frenzy and unsteady. So, like the linemen, they can't use the new secure the ball action, that's fine. But strength 4 with movement 6 and frenzy means they are going to cause a lot of damage. They're going to get to where they need to be, and they've got the strength to back it up when they get there. Really great player in the Ulfvarner, and I can't wait to see them ripping people apart. Worried for my goblins against them, but they're just going to be a lot of fun to watch over the course of the season. And then lastly, in Dean's roster, he is bringing 2 Valkyries. So nobody else on this roster that we've gotten to so far is any good at carrying the ball. The Norse Raiders, although they're agility 3+, they can't use the new secure the ball action. The Beer Boars can't pick up the ball at all. The Berserkers, they're only movement 6. They're okay. They're slightly better than the rest at carrying the ball. The Ulfvarner can't use the new secure the ball action. They're only agility 4+. So the last players, the Valkyries, are your ball carriers. And they can work as a little bit of a team, which is very nice. So we've got Erica, the sponsored, and Freya Fleetfoot. And the Valkyries come in at 95k. They're movement 7, so a little bit faster than the rest of the team, which is also nice for your ball carrier and goal scorer. They're strength 3. They got agility 3+, they got passing 3+, which is nice. They're still only armor 8, so again a little bit vulnerable. But they've got pass, okay, so they've got a passer now. They've also got catch, so that's what I mean is they can work as a little team. One can pass to the other and back and forth, which is very cool. They've got strip ball, so they're also a little bit of a ball hog. They can go after that ball carrier, go for the push, go for the block, and if they just get a push, they can rip that ball out into the open, which is very nice. And they've got Dauntless, which is an extra really little cool skill on them, so they can go after stuff that's bigger than them as well. So that's very fun, very thematic for the Valkyrie on the pitch to be very heroic, going charging after what is the big bad on the opponent's side. Really like that a lot. And as I say, they're going to be your ball carriers, they're going to be your scoring threat with that movement 7 and the pair of them. Now that being only armor value 8 and having no defensive skills does make them a little bit of a target, but the rest of your team are there to support them with the Norse. They're going to be smashing down your opponent, protecting those Valkyries, letting them have those openings to run through and score touchdowns or go chasing after the opponent's ball carrier. So really nice feel to the Norse team there and how they operate. Love them a lot. Looking forward to seeing what they do this year in the championship. And the last team here in the Dark League and the last team that we get to in the entire championship is me and my Goblins, the Coffin Road Ringers. So this team, I ran them last year as well. The year before I ran Black Orcs. So I'm a big Goblin and Orc guy. That's where I live and breathe, and I've been leaning more and more into the Goblins. So did pretty well with them last year, got to the semi-finals where I faced against Cameron and his Dwarves, the Cold Side Jammers, who I said were the overall winners. So obviously I went out in that game in a 2-1 grind. It was a tough matchup for me, and I think I played it slightly wrong. I tried to fight the Dwarves, maybe slightly more than I should have, hoped to get a few casualties through early. Didn't pan out that way, and then I took a few casualties and things just snowballed from there. But it was a great game, really well controlled by Cameron to get himself into the final and then win the overall championship. So that was great from him. This year I am running slightly different team to what I ran last year. I've dropped one of my secret weapons for a reroll, basically, is what I've done. So I'm starting with 4 rerolls this year. The feeling is if I can have that extra reroll to help get me through to those quarterfinals, I should have enough money by then to be able to afford that 3rd secret weapon. But we will see how it goes once the league starts. But starting with 4 rerolls, Also, the thinking behind that is trolls got really good this edition, especially for the Goblin and the Black Orc team, which we'll get into when I cover that player. But I wanted the extra reroll to really fuel them and turn them into superstars and be a little bit more of the star of the team this year. But we'll see. We'll start with my linemen though. So I've got 7 in this roster. Number 2, we've got Get 'em Gretchen. Number 12, we've got Snivel Get Back Ear. Number 16, we've got Uga. Number 32, we've got Snuff of That. Number 44, we've got Selly Cut Short. Number 56, we've got Booga. And number 79, we've got Snack in a Pinch. So really like the Goblin linemen. They're just a nice, reliable player. They can be killed. They're a little bit tougher than most stunty players, which is nice. But so don't get too attached to them, I must tell myself. But I like them a lot. They can do a lot of things on the Blood Bowl pitch. So they're 40k, which is expensive for stunty, but cheap for linemen. So take that how you will. Their movement 6, which is fast for a stunty player, although not as fast as a skink, but faster than most. Their strength 2. Their agility 3+, which is great. That's pretty much standard for a stunty player. Their passing 4+, which is fine. Their armor value 8, which again is pretty good for a stunty player. They've got dodge and stunty, which is the combo you love with stunty players. And they've got right stuff, so they can be thrown by my trolls as well. And they've got agility and access to the whole new skill table in the new edition, Devious Skills. So I'm really looking forward to brewing up my goblins. As soon as one of them gets a touchdown, I'm just going to roll on a random on the Devious Skills to see what I can spike with my goblins, what little sneaky skills I can get on them. A couple of fouling players, we'll just have to see what happens. Looking forward to getting deep dived into that this season. Then we will go to... Let's cover the trolls. So I've got 2 trolls. We've got number 35, we've got Sporn Stinkhorn, and number 40, we've got Mighty Shudders. So these guys, as I say, got a bit of a glow up in this edition for the Goblin and the Black Orc team. They're 115k, so they've not changed there. Their movement 4, which is slow for a big guy, but fine. Their strength 5, perfect. Their agility 5+, so they're not going to be dodging anywhere, but that's fine. Passing 5+, average for a big guy. Armor value 10+, great. They've got always hungry, so that means when they do try throw teammate, I have to roll a dice, and on a 1, they will try and eat that teammate. So that's one of the things I want to have that extra reroll for, because that 1 will burn me. And if I can just try reroll that, great, I can keep them active and throw in players. They've got Mighty Blow, so they're really good at dishing out damage. They've got Projectile Vomit, which doesn't come up that often. It basically means rather than rolling block dice, I can try vomit on someone. Most of the time I'm stronger than my opponent, so I want to be rolling the block dice. And the times when I'm not stronger, they're going to have high armor value. So it might be used against a big guy that's only armor value 9. I don't think I have one of those in my division, but if I play against the Rat Ogre, maybe it'll become in handy then, we'll see. They've got Really Stupid, so on a 1+, whenever I try activate them, sorry, not on a 1+, on the roll of a 1, they get really stupid and their activation just ends and they get boneheaded, so they can't even offer a tackle zone until they get activated again. So again, that's another reason why I want that extra reroll. Keep my trolls in the game, keep them active, keep them doing what I want them to do. They've got regeneration, so if they do get taken out on a 4+, keeps them in the game, keeps them in my roster. And then they've got Throw Teammate. Now, for the glow up, the big important thing that we're missing here is the loner trait. So most big guys have loner. Trained trolls are so much integrated into the Goblin team that they don't have loner. So that is why I want that extra reroll. So normally, I would have to roll a dice, and on a 3+ or a 4+, depending on the loner, I would lose my reroll if I rolled under that, and I wouldn't get to, I'd just lose the reroll, wouldn't get to change what I was doing with that player. The fact that they've lost loner means I can just use that reroll. Hopefully it'll come off, and then I can get to do them what I want. So they just became a little bit more reliable, which is fantastic because I love a troll, want to see them have a good season. All right, now we go into the special players on the Goblin team. So let's start with my goal scoring threats. So we've got my Pogor, number 7, Puns Over Yahid. He is a fantastic player. So he's movement 7, so he's the fastest player on my team. He's strength 2, he's agility 3+, he's passing 4+, he's only armor value 8 again. He's got dodge, he's got stunty, he doesn't have right stuff, so he can't be thrown, but he has pogo. So basically this guy's bouncing along on his squig, and he can just hop over players that are in front of him. So rather than using dodge rolls, if it's going to take me too long of route, I can just hop over the player that's in front of me on a 3+. And I've got a few rerolls, as we say, to hopefully pull that off if I roll a 1 or a 2 on that. So really like them. With that movement 7, they're going to be in my backfield for collecting the ball and going after any players that my opponents break through my front lines. They're only strength 2, so they're going to need support on that, but they're there to tie players up and someone else can come in and help them out, do the blitz, whatever. Then we have the other scoring threat on my team, and that is the Doom Diver. So we've got number 80, Silius Sog. So he is, where is he? 65k. He also got a bit of a glow up this edition. He's movement 6, he's strength 2+, he's agility 3+, he's passing 6+, he's armor value 8+, he's got dodge, he's got right stuff so he can be thrown, he's got stunty, and he's got swoop. So swoop is fantastic, especially in this edition, and he also got dodge off the bat this edition as well. So he's a great goal scoring threat now. So basically when I throw teammate, I can use the swoop skill, and that will, I can basically roll d6 in a random 3 direction. I can either face towards a sideline or I can face towards a end zone, and you'll go in a random direction, d6, and it also lets me re-roll when I land. So rather than scattering in a random direction, which might actually bring you further away from the end zone, you can go towards it, hopefully that you land free of tackle zones or don't go off the pitch, which can happen with that d6, can be quite random, but hopefully it pays off. You can always re-roll it if you get something bad, and then he gets to re-roll his landing, so that is fantastic. Turns him into a really good goal scorer actually, so looking forward to seeing that in the new edition. I didn't use him too much in the last season. I think I scored 1, maybe 2 touchdowns using my Doom Diver. Most of the time it was my Pogor, but in this edition he was becoming much more enticing to do that, throw teammates 1 touchdown. We'll see how it pans out. Looking forward to him. Then we have the 2 secret weapons that I've started off with this year. So we've got the Looney, number 13, Topaz, and the Death Stick. So this is my Looney. So he's 40k, he's movement 6, he's strength 2+, he's agility 3+, he can't pass the ball, he's armor value 8, he's got no ball, so that's why he can't pass the ball, because he can never have the ball. He's got stunty, so he's still quite good at dodging, even though he doesn't have the dodge skill. He's got secret weapon, which basically means at the end of a drive that he took part in, he will be sent off. I can argue the call. On a 6+, I'll keep him on, and on a 1, I get sent off as the coach as well. You can buy bribes to help goblins and their secret weapons stay on, which I will be doing as the season goes on. But I want to get as many goblins in my starting roster, so I don't have enough funds to likely to be able to afford that in my first game. But he has chainsaw, and this is what turns him into an awesome player. So like the assassin, rather than performing a block action, he can use his chainsaw. So to activate it, I roll a dice. On a 2+, it works as normal. On a 1, he chainsaws himself. So provided it works, or if it works on myself, it adds +3 to the armor roll. So it goes straight to armor and I add +3 to it. So if it hits me, he's likely to die because I just need a 5 on that armor 8+ to take him down. But on opponents, if you're only armor 8, it's a 5+ for them as well, and a 9 is going to be a 6, and even a 10 is only going to be a 7+ to break through that armor. So he's a really, really big removal piece. Like him a lot. He is a big target for your opponent. They'll want to hit him, but if they come to hit him and they don't roll high enough to take him down, he will get to chainsaw them back. So he's a big threat. Like him a lot. And then lastly, the last player for this team I've got my Fanatic number 21. I go this way and Hugo that way. So these guys are my ball and chain. So we got the Goblin pulling around the big squig, or vice versa as it may be. So the Fanatic, he's 70k. He is only movement 3. He's strength 7, which is hilarious. He's the strongest player in the league. He's agility 3+. He cannot pass the ball. He's armor value 8. So he's got no ball, like the hooligan. Not the hooligan, the loony. So he can't pick up the ball. He's got a secret weapon like the hooligan, so he will get sent off after a drive he's taken part in. He's got stunty, so does help with his dodging a little bit. And he's got ball and chains. This basically means whenever I activate him, I don't get to move him as normal. I pick a direction, so if I want to go that way, it'll be 1, 2, I'd go this way, 3, 4, go that way, 5, 6, I'd go this way, and I move him in that direction. If he moves into a square that has a player in it, you push them back, and you roll a dice. So you treat it like a block action. So strength 7, if I'm going up against something that's only strength 3, I'm going to get 3 dice on that to try pound that player to the ground. So he has a massive, massive threat range to be able to take stuff down. Even against big guys, he's a threat. However, if he, for whatever reason, gets knocked down, if he hits the deck, that is treated as a KO and he's removed from play. So he's got big upside, he's got a bit of a downside as well. But I love using him. I think he was probably my favorite player last season to use. Looking forward to taking him out again. Alrighty, that is the Coffin Road Ringers. And that's it for the Dark League teams. We are getting very, very close to starting the league. Next week I'm going to be going into the house rules. So we set up a few of them for the league just to streamline things a little bit and provide a little bit more fun in some areas as well, I think. And then the last video before the league starts, I'm going to be talking us through the star players that we have access to for this league. So stay tuned for those. Hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please do like and subscribe. Even leave a comment. Tell us which team in this division that you like the look of the most. If you think this division looks a little bit easier, a little bit tougher than the Dark division, let us know as well. And we will see you again very soon on the Brothers Grim Dark. Thank you so much for watching. Ciao.